So I mean, this guitar I have right here is the kind of the second prototype, but the first one that has all the finalized features. And right behind me is one that was like just a production model, and there's like no difference in them. So they're both exactly the same. I didn't change anything after this one. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing guitar for so long, and I've just tried so many different combinations and body styles and everything, and the M2 shape's the most comfortable, like especially with the arm carve. I think that's something that, you know, most people would agree that is like the comfiest thing to have on a guitar, like especially playing live, playing heavy stuff, and you're like going up and down. The amount of times I get caught on sharper edges. So I really like the body shape, and also like with the M2 with the flat top, you get a bit more thickness to the body, which is cool. The neck, I love it. It's one of the thinner ones that ESP do, which is it's not too thin. I don't think it's like you know, crazy thin, not the thinnest neck I've ever played, but it's just comfy. I kind of don't get it when I feel like people show off when they say they like big fat baseball bat necks. Like, no one really likes that, do they? If you're playing leads. So yeah, this guitar, I've been playing it live, and it is just everything that I want. The main thing for me is the tone. Just like that's something that I like really geek out on all the time. I'm sat in my home studio right now, and with Architects, I engineer all the guitars and co-produce the music, co-produce the albums. On the last record, I even kind of, hope Zach, who mixed it, doesn't mind me saying, I kind of pre-mixed the guitars as well. And with Sylosis, I produced, engineered, mixed the whole record. So like, I have a bit of a producer hat on sometimes, and I really nerd out over tones. So it's not just like, oh, I think this sounds cool. I analyze everything when it comes to guitar tone, and the combination of the wood, the neck construction being a bolt-on neck, so it's very deliberate, and the bridge, everything is kind of like the perfect storm for good metal tone. One question that I do get asked is, like, I think from younger, more inexperienced players, is why is it bolt-on? Thinking that that's just like a cutting a corner or just doing it to make it cheaper, but it's something that you know, high-end guitars have too. Like, this is my Japanese ESP M2 that I've had for years, and it's a bolt-on. And I realized just through years of playing that I prefer the attack of a bolt-on. It's not really like it's not like a harsh attack, but you just get a bit more of that pick snap, which is really cool. I think a lot of modern guitarists like really low profile bridges, or the comfort of a Floyd Rose, but they don't necessarily want to use a Floyd Rose. But I've always found that a Tune-o-matic bridge was just better tonally than a lot of the other bridges I've tried that were a bit more low profile. And the fact that this is recessed is like so sick, because it was something that you had actually suggested, I think, and I'd never tried it, and it's just perfect. You get that kind of super low profile comfort, but the tone is ideal for me. And I've said it before in the video, I actually really like that it's got the bit that sticks out here, because it just gives you, like, especially when you're playing live, just like there's the bridge, like your anchor point for palm muting. Whereas some bridges, if they're too low profile, like, it's like, oh, where's my palm mute spot, that kind of thing. So yeah, this is like ideal. Like, every aspect of guitar is something that I've kind of spec'd out. I've been working with Fishman for a while, so I love the modern pickups. And yeah, I get some people asking if that's the real guitar that I play live, or if I have like a custom shop with the LTD logo on it instead. And this is definitely just the ones that you can buy in the store. People have even asked, like, oh, is there going to be an ESP version? And as cool as that would be, like, this is just great. There's definitely, you know, no issue with having a just factory, you know, guitar. If it's set up right and it has these specs, this thing's killer. I just use it for everything. So whether I'm playing live or in the studio, this is like my number one. I still play down in G sharp on this guitar. So this is my G sharp one, which is, yeah, holds up great. I've even switched to using even thinner strings than I was using, and it still holds its tune well. And yeah, no issues with that. So yeah, very happy. I genuinely, like, I have so many years of experience now in fine tuning what I like, what I don't like. And the main thing is making sure it translates live. Well, I say the main thing for me is like tone. But if it can also hold up and be comfortable live, then yeah, it's perfect. So there you go. That's it for me. Like, I'm set. Yeah, not many people would kind of notice it unless like the light catches it in the right way, and when it does, it's a bit more obvious than the regular cut on this guitar, because it has a deeper arm cut. It's got more of a curve to it, which is something that I kind of just drew up, and I've never kind of really seen like the exact angle, but it's almost like a semicircle cut, and it's just more comfort for me, like just playing live, not bashing into it too much, and just having a little bit more off this end just for leads and getting that kind of angle. And the main thing that works great for low tunings is the bolt-on neck, just having that kind of snappier attack. Again, I'm always worried that people think it's good. There's a tendency for a lot of modern players to get this kind of like nasally tone, which isn't what I'm into, and it can be like an unforgiving kind of thing. But you can get that with most guitars, and you know, if you dial in your amp or your pedal the right way, you can do that. But this guitar just has an inherent tightness to it that's perfect for down tuning. But at the same time, in Sylosis, we live between E standard tuning and C sharp standard, so it's not that low. And again, the pick attack's ideal for that, because we're playing a lot of like intricate, you know, fast kind of thrashy riffs, and every note wants to be heard. It needs to be cutting through clearly. And I found with some of the neck through guitars, it can be a little bit too bassy for me. And yeah, I back in the day, actually, when we recorded the first Sylosis record, I had a bunch of guitars with me, and we were just trying them all out for the rhythm tone. And the one that I ended up using was one that's just over there, which is my old Michael Wilton LTD, which is similar. It's an older body and a maple neck, and it's a bolt-on. And it wasn't something that I was too aware of, that I kind of gravitated towards the bolt-on neck sound. I just kind of put it down to like, you know, oh, that guitar just sounds like that, and not really thinking too much specifically about the bolt-on, and just like maybe paying more attention to the woods. But the more kind of like I look into tones and tone woods and stuff, the more I realize that, yeah, the bolt-on thing is 100% like my go-to. To me, a huge benefit for if you're playing heavy music of any kind. You need, well, you don't need, but I would recommend a bolt-on neck, because no matter how low your tuning is, you're going to cut through and get that kind of pick attack clarity that I think everyone's looking for. So I've had these guitars now for, well, at least the first one about 2 years, I guess, and played a bunch of shows, did some shows last year, did a few short runs, and then we've just got back off, you know, our first proper tour back. And yeah, the frets are, being stainless steel, just were exactly as they were a few years ago. And actually, even more than touring, like touring's one thing, but I kind of live in this room when I'm not on tour. I'm writing music, producing, recording guitars, so these get played all the time, probably more at home than obviously on the road. And yeah, the usual spots that I'm hanging around in, there's literally zero sign of wear. You know, having stainless steel frets was something that I think I have a kind of OCD thing about it. I just don't want to know that they're going to get worn down. I just like the peace of mind knowing that these things are just going to stick around and not whittle away. And I play a lot of guitar, and I just kind of, yeah, I'm grabbing these guitars every day. So when I was speccing out, stainless steel was yeah, something that I really wanted to do. Like I said, it just for peace of mind, like just knowing that they're never really gonna need anything done to them. Like I had the guitar set up by my tech when I first got it, when I first like moved into a different tuning, and it's just stayed the same. Yeah, for me with the Fishmans, I pretty much tend to leave them in active mode. I've always liked the active sound. I know it's kind of common for a lot of people to kind of say they don't, there's no dynamics, but that's kind of one thing that I don't want. Like I practice my riffing, and that's something that I like take a lot of pride in. But anything else that's going to help make every down picking note sound the same is ideal for me, because nearly all my favorite records were using active pickups. I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm also one of those guys that actually kind of likes the compressor on my clean sounds. So all of the clean guitars on the Architects records that I've done since I've been in the band have been tracked in here and using Fishmans, and pretty much nearly always in active mode. Like sometimes I'll switch and go to the passive stuff for certain parts, but I kind of like quite a compressed sound for cleans. But having the option to do passive as well was something that was a huge draw for me. Like why I wanted to start using Fishmans, just to have all those options. And it's great to try them out, and like you can live in passive world if you want, but I kind of just stick to the active voicing. I would say I don't do much like practice these days, but I'm sat in here with this guitar on my lap, at the very least like 3 hours a day, at least like Monday to Friday. And yeah, I'm like, if I'm not in recording mode, or if I'm not like mixing or producing another band, which I don't do a lot of, I mainly just stick to the two bands that I'm in. If I'm writing, then yeah, I'll just be in here just non-stop, and this guitar will just be sat on my lap. I'll write, I'll program some stuff, but this thing, yeah, a lot. It gets played a lot. I think, yeah, advice for anyone starting out is just try and enjoy it, and don't beat yourself up too much about not improving. But I guess, yeah, I'm not one of those people that ever got like angry at myself or annoyed about not improving. I kind of knew that it was just going to be a lot of work. And something that I tell everyone that I think is really underrated is just, if you're watching a movie, if you're watching TV, as long as you're not like annoying the rest of your family or whatever, you can just sit there and practice your scales, because a huge part of guitar playing is the physical aspect of doing it, not just like learning and just remembering things, but just playing your scales. It's all going to go in, it's all going into your muscle memory. And sometimes the tedious stuff, like people would ask me how I got good at sweep picking, as if there was like some magic exercise that I'd come up with that is a secret. But it's like, well, if you want to play this kind of shape, you want to be good at it, you have to practice it a lot, and that can be really boring. So just do it with something else. Like I used to do, I do some real practice. I practice with a metronome. I practice with an amp on, so I could hear if I'm making any like scuffs and noises that gets drawn out with a high gain. I'd practice clean to make sure I could actually hear how accurate my pick attack was. But I would never do more than like an hour or 2 hours at the very like height of my guitar nerdery, like trying to get good. Most of it though was just then, having dinner and then just do my homework and then watch TV in the evening. And I'd still have the guitar in my hands and just go over that stuff, but I wouldn't be thinking about it. And I wouldn't be stressing like, oh, I need to get better. I need to I'm like trying to get faster. I'd actually practice really slowly, but just like watch a movie. So practicing really, really slowly isn't fun. So do it with something else, because that was probably the most beneficial thing, because it's all muscle memory. So the slower you go, the more accurate and the more clean your playing will be. So if you're looking for a guitar for any type of heavy music, this guitar's got all bases covered. So I definitely recommend checking out your local guitar store. Pick one up. As soon as you pick one up and feel it, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is the most comfortable guitar I've ever played. So I hope you dig it.